The next required setting is the registry settings. Now here in RoomKey, this registry setting is going to allow you to send emails directly from RoomKey to an external recipient, meaning the guest. So if you want to be able to send confirmation letters or a copy of the guest final bill at the end of their stay, you must set up the information here on the Registry tab for each computer workstation using RoomKey. So if you have two front desk computers, you will need to set up the information here in the Registry tab on each of those separately. So here in the Registry tab, some of the key features that you need to collect include the email host system name. I have an example here using Office 365. The setting or your email host system name depends on who your email service provider is. So if you remember back on the General tab, we had a setting where you could enter in the email address or contact email address for the property. Whatever that email is, depending on who is hosting that email, so it could be Outlook, Gmail, any other, or Office 365 in this example here, you'll want to collect that host system name, and you'll have to enter it in using this format indicated in the brackets. So it'll be smtp dot the ISP, in this case, office365.com. The next thing that you'll enter in is the email user account and the email from address. Oftentimes, I recommend keeping these as the same email, and that should be the same email that you have on your General tab. The reason that you would want to have this information entered here and saved as the same email address as the from address allows your guest or whoever is receiving the email, they would see your property email address in the from section on their email. And if they wanted to ask a question or reply to that email, they can do so from their email. And that way it will go directly into your property email address. So you don't have to go anywhere outside of your email in order to receive any replies from guests. So once you've entered in the host system name, the email, user account, and from address, the next thing you'll want to do is select Secure Password Authentication, and you'll enter in the password that you use to access this property email. Now, when you enter in the password, it will be masked by default, so it shows these black dots on screen. And that way that password is kept secret. So if anyone was to come back into this area after you've updated the registry information, they would not be able to see the password to access that email address. The next thing that you want to make sure is that you select email is available. And I do also recommend attaching the email as a PDF copy, meaning that you're going to attach a copy of the guest final bill as a PDF or a copy of the confirmation letter as a PDF. The last piece of information that you need to set up appears right below the email is available checkbox, and that's the SMTP port number and security settings. Now, this port number and security settings are going to depend on your system, your email host. So Office 365 is an example here, and I have an example of a test or example port number. And you can also select the security setting, the TLS or SSL security setting from this drop-down menu. Now, us at RoomKey, we do not have these details, the port number or the email host system name. That information is contained within your email system. So if you're using Office 365, we do have some recommendations and some troubleshooting documents available on our support website that give you tips and tricks for how to find this information, particularly the SMTP port number and security settings. We also have some troubleshooting documentation if you are using Gmail and have two-factor authentication. There is a couple of steps that you need to perform on your Gmail account in order to allow Roomkey to access your email or send email as if it was coming from that Gmail account with the two-factor authentication. Once you have these details set up, you do need to click the button on the right-hand side that says Post Changes to the Registry. Now, this button is a little bit different than the other post buttons that we've seen so far, back on the permissions or back on the Preferences and Generals tab. When you click Post to the Registry, it's going to save this information to the registry component of this specific computer. It does not save to any other computers or any other workstations. So because we're posting this information to the registry of this one specific computer, you need to set up this tab on each computer workstation if you want to send email like the confirmation letter or the guest final bill at the end of their stay. Now, there are also some requirements if your property has a Windows domain or separate Windows users. If you're using a Windows-based operating system and each staff member has their own Windows login, you will need to set this up on each login for each staff member on each workstation. Because of the registry settings that are restricted, again, it's per user, per workstation in those scenarios.